Small talk. What a misleading term. We call it small, as if it's trivial, as if it's merely filler between moments of significance. But what if I told you? Small talk holds far more power than we give it credit for. Think about it. Small talk is the first doorway to human connection. It's not just idle chatter or background noise. It's the very fabric of how we begin to understand strangers, how we open the gates of rapport. The irony is, the same thing that makes small talk beautiful, its spontaneity, also makes it intimidating. There's no script to follow. You're not reciting lines. You're dancing in real time with another human being. Many of us fall into the trap of treating small talk like a performance, a sort of back-and-forth tennis match where each person lobs a sentence over the net, hoping it lands smoothly on the other side. But maybe, just maybe, we've been seeing it all wrong. Imagine, instead, a game of hacky sack. Remember those little beanbags? In hacky sack, everyone's collective goal is to keep it off the ground, to keep it moving, together. That's what small talk could be. Collaborative, fluid, a dance of curiosity, rather than a contest of cleverness. And here's the first mind shift. Small talk isn't a battlefield. It's a garden. You're not trying to defeat the silence. You're tending to it, nurturing it, seeing what blooms. Before you step into any conversation, set a simple, powerful goal. Not to impress, but to engage. Rachel Greenwald, a matchmaker and academic, captures this beautifully. Your goal is to be interested, not interesting. Think about that. Most people walk into social spaces with a hidden pressure. I have to sound smart, I have to be engaging, I need to be memorable. But that anxiety fades when you realize your mission isn't to broadcast brilliance. It's to tune in, to be curious, to listen deeply. It's not about grabbing the spotlight. It's about moving the light toward the person you're speaking with. Shift your gaze outward, and your own nerves quiet down. Another common struggle in spontaneous conversation is speed. We rush to respond. Why? Somewhere along the way, we internalize this strange belief that answering quickly makes us appear more competent. But speed isn't wisdom. Presence is. The truth is, pausing, really taking a breath, allows you to respond with intention, with depth. How often have you regretted blurting something out, only to think later, I could have said that so much better? That's what haste does. It steals clarity. So here's your gentle antidote. Paraphrasing. Now, this isn't just parroting back what someone said, like a 5-year-old mimicking a parent. This is distilling. This is reflecting the core of what someone has said back to them in your own words. Why do this? 3 reasons. First, it forces you to truly listen. Not just skim the surface, not just hear the gist, but to dive into the essence of their words. Second, it signals respect. By paraphrasing, you're telling them, I hear you. You matter. And here's the nuance. Paraphrasing isn't agreement. You don't have to endorse everything someone says. You're simply honoring their perspective. Third, paraphrasing buys you time. Time to compose your thoughts, to avoid rambling, to respond with elegance rather than impulse. When you slow down, you elevate the quality of the conversation. There's also a timeless fallback when your mind goes blank. A phrase my mother-in-law wielded like a magic wand. Tell me more. So simple, so powerful. Whenever you feel stuck, whenever the river of dialogue starts to dry up, just lean in and softly say, tell me more. Or perhaps, that's interesting. What happened next? Instantly, you invite the other person to open up, to lead you down a narrative path you might never have expected. But here's the key. Your curiosity must be real. People can smell disinterest from miles away. Your tone, your eyes, your posture. They must all whisper, "I want to understand you." Because sincerity turns a simple phrase into an opening of connection. And now we stumble upon a great philosophical truth. Communication is never perfect. We stumble, we misspeak, we fumble our words, we drift off topic. And that's okay. Language is imperfect. Humans are imperfect. Spontaneous conversation is meant to be messy, human, alive. In fact, I invite you to see your conversational missteps not as mistakes, but as missed takes. Borrowing from the world of film, every scene has multiple takes. Actors deliver their lines in different moods, different energies, different styles. They experiment, they play, they explore. You can do the same in your conversations. If a thought comes out awkwardly, it's just a missed take. You can steer the dialogue back on course, you can clarify, you can revisit. Communication is a living process, not a rigid script. Another trap that many of us fall into, especially when we feel nervous, is rambling. We talk and talk and talk, trying to fill the silence, trying to sound smart. But what we often end up doing is dragging the conversation into the weeds. Here's the liberating truth. Simplicity is power. There's a saying my mother always used, "Tell me the time, don't build me the clock." And isn't that a perfect metaphor for modern conversation? When nerves hit, we become clock builders. We construct elaborate explanations when a simple statement would suffice. Concision is clarity. Concision is respect. For your listener, for their time, for the flow of dialogue. You don't have to take people on a roller coaster of your thoughts. Sometimes all they need is the time. But how do we stay concise without sounding robotic or cold? The answer is structure. Not bullet points, but flow. Not fragments, but coherence. And here comes a beautiful paradox. Structure doesn't kill spontaneity. Structure liberates it. Just like jazz musicians improvise within certain musical frameworks, you too can improvise within conversational frameworks. And one of the simplest, most versatile structures? The trio of questions. What? So, what? Now what? This deceptively simple framework, what? So what? Now what? Is like a compass guiding you through the winding roads of small talk and deeper conversations alike. Let's unravel it together. The first question, what, is about the present moment. What is the topic? What's happening? What's being shared? It grounds you in the immediate reality of the conversation. When you meet someone at a gathering, you might simply ask, "What brings you here?" Or, "What project are you working on these days?" It's gentle, unassuming, and it shows interest without pressure. It allows the other person to choose the direction of the conversation. Then comes the heart of the interaction, the so what. This is the bridge from surface level to substance. It asks, why is this significant? Why does it matter to you? Why should I lean in closer? So what? Invites meaning into the dialogue. You might say, "Oh, you're working on a documentary. So what's your favorite part of the process?" Or, "You came here for a networking event, so what drew you to this particular gathering?" This layer transforms a bland exchange into something meaningful, something that reveals a little more about the other person's inner world. And finally, now what? This question is about momentum. It keeps the energy alive. Now, what are you hoping to discover tonight? Now, what are your next steps after this project? It keeps the conversational hacky sack in the air. It invites action, reflection, or continuation. It's elegant, rhythmic, alive. You see, small talk isn't meaningless chatter. It's a craft. And like all crafts, it demands practice. Next time you read an article, listen to a podcast, or watch a documentary, pause. Ask yourself, what did I just learn? Why does it matter to me? How might I apply it in my life? By rehearsing these questions mentally, you're strengthening the muscle of spontaneous dialogue. You're preparing yourself to step into any room, any conversation, with curiosity and ease. But there's another art form to consider. Not just how we sustain small talk, but how we begin it. Most people lead with automatic, lifeless openers. How are you? What do you do? We've all heard them, and we've all answered them on autopilot. These questions, while polite, rarely spark connection. They create loops, predictable, uninspired loops. But there's an alternative, a more mindful way to enter a conversation. By noticing the environment. Every space, every gathering, every moment offers clues. Look around, observe, comment on something specific, something alive in your shared reality. I'll give you an example. I was recently at a conference, a room bustling with unfamiliar faces. I walked up to someone, smiled, and said, "It's funny. I don't think I've seen this many people wearing blue shirts in one place before." Simple, playful, present. The person laughed, glanced around, and replied, "You know what? You're absolutely right." Instantly, the ice was broken. The flow had begun, not with a generic question, but with a shared moment of awareness. You see, initiating a conversation is about anchoring yourself to the now. It's about inviting someone into a little moment of discovery. It could be the artwork on the wall, the choice of background music, the mood of the crowd, anything that exists in that unique bubble of time and space you're sharing. And here's the deeper philosophy. Humans are creatures of stories. When you notice something others overlook, you give them permission to awaken their senses, to be more present, to see the world with fresh eyes. But if initiating small talk can be awkward, exiting it can be downright daunting. We've all been there, stuck in a loop, unsure how to gracefully disengage. Most people resort to biological excuses. I need to grab a drink. I need to use the restroom. And sure, these are valid, but they can feel abrupt, sometimes even dismissive. There's a more elegant way, a technique known as the white flag. Borrowed from the world of auto racing, the white flag signals the final lap. It lets all the drivers know we're wrapping up. You can do the same in conversation. As you feel the natural close approaching, maybe you've run through the what, so what, now what, you simply signal it. You say, "I'll need to head over to talk to a colleague soon, but before I do, I wanted to hear a little more about that project you mentioned." This does two things. First, it prepares the other person for the conversation to end. No sudden exits, no awkwardness. Second, it closes with generosity. You're offering them the final word, the last note in your shared dialogue. It turns an ending into a moment of connection, rather than a rushed escape. And perhaps that's the most important takeaway of all. Small talk isn't about escaping silence. It's about respecting the moment. It's about realizing that every conversation, no matter how brief, is a unique collision of lives. Two human beings crossing paths in the vast ocean of existence. When you treat small talk as trivial, you diminish that magic. But when you approach it with presence, with curiosity, with gentle structure, you transform it into something meaningful, something memorable. You become a gardener of connection, a sculptor of dialogue, an architect of human warmth. And isn't that something we all crave in this world? More moments of genuine connection? And so, as we reflect on this simple yet profound practice of small talk, we arrive at a deeper realization. It's not just about words, it's about presence. It's about creating a space where another person feels seen, heard, and valued. This realization begins to ripple through your life beyond casual social gatherings. You start to notice how often people feel invisible, how frequently conversations become transactional rather than transformational. And you start to ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be in this world of hurried exchanges and superficial chatter? The answer, I believe, is timeless. Be the person who listens deeply, who responds thoughtfully, who brings ease and grace into every room they enter. And it's astonishing how simple adjustments can cultivate this way of being. For example, imagine approaching every conversation, whether with a stranger or a friend, with the question, what can I learn from this person? Not, how can I impress them? Not, how quickly can I move on? But what can I discover here? This shift turns ordinary exchanges into little adventures of curiosity. And here's where practice becomes essential. Like any meaningful craft, playing an instrument, painting, writing, small talk improves with conscious repetition. You don't master it by reading about it once. You master it by stepping into conversations again and again, applying your new insights, noticing what resonates. You might even create small exercises for yourself. The next time you listen to a podcast, practice summarizing the what, so what, now what silently in your head. Next time you read an article, see if you can distill it into a sentence you could share at a dinner table. You're training your mind to seek clarity, to engage with substance, to be concise without losing warmth. And as your awareness deepens, you'll also become attuned to the subtle energies of conversation, the rhythm, the pacing, the unsaid cues. You'll notice when someone's eyes light up, signaling curiosity. You'll recognize when someone starts to withdraw, signaling it's time to shift the focus. You'll feel the natural rise and fall, like waves in the ocean, guiding you on when to speak, when to listen, and when to gracefully exit. Because in the end, small talk isn't small at all. It's the gateway to trust, to camaraderie, to unexpected friendships and professional alliances. It's in those fleeting conversations, at the coffee shop, at a networking event, in an elevator, where doors can open, minds can shift, and hearts can soften. And what a beautiful skill to cultivate, to be the person who makes others feel lighter after speaking with you, who brings ease rather than anxiety, who turns awkwardness into comfort. Let's bring this full circle with a final reminder. The goal is not perfection. You will fumble. You will have moments where words escape you. You will sometimes walk away thinking, I could have said that better. And that's not a failure. That's life. Every interaction is a take, a scene, a moment in an ongoing film. Some takes will be brilliant, others will be awkward, but every single one is practice, and every single one holds a lesson. When you embrace this mindset, you free yourself from the chains of self-judgment. You allow yourself to be human. You allow others to be human. And in this shared humanity, you create space for real connection. So, next time you step into a room full of strangers, remember, you are not there to perform. You are there to explore. You are not there to impress. You are there to connect. The words you choose are simply tools. The questions you ask are simply keys. The pauses you allow are simply doors, opening into richer, more authentic human moments. Because small talk, when approached with intention, is not small at all. It is the beginning of everything beautiful in human interaction. It is how strangers become acquaintances, how acquaintances become friends, how fleeting moments become cherished memories. So go forth, not as a master of conversation, but as a humble traveler, eager to discover the magic hidden in every dialogue, every story, every human being you meet. And who knows, in those simple, spontaneous exchanges, you might just find something profound about others and about yourself.